Chicago Bulls fans, you won't believe what's brewing behind the scenes. Zach LaVine has reportedly dropped some explosive details about the Bulls' locker room, and it's not looking pretty. From growing tension with teammates like DeMar DeRozan to frustrations with the coaching staff and front office, LaVine is exposing what might be tearing this team apart. Could this be the end of LaVine's time in Chicago? Is a major shakeup coming for the Bulls? Stay tuned because this could change everything. Don't miss the full breakdown. Tap the link in the description and find out what's really going on. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, your go-to source for all the latest and juiciest NBA news. If you're a Chicago Bulls fan or even just someone who loves NBA drama, you're going to want to stick around for this one. Things in Chicago might be way messier than we thought, and it all seems to center around Zach LaVine and some shocking revelations about the Bulls' locker room. That's right, we're diving deep into the recent bombshells surrounding LaVine, the alleged toxicity in the Bulls' locker room, and what this means for the future of the franchise. So, grab a snack, hit that like button, and make sure you're subscribed because this is going to be a wild ride. Let's rewind a bit. Over the last few seasons, the Chicago Bulls have been in a strange spot. They've got a mix of seasoned veterans like DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic, alongside younger stars like Zach LaVine, but they've struggled to break through as serious contenders in the Eastern Conference. There's always been this sense that something just isn't clicking. They're good enough to make the playoffs or at least the play-in tournament, but they can't seem to take that next step. And now, thanks to some recent reports and rumors, it seems like we might have a better idea of why that is. Word on the street is that Zach LaVine has been increasingly frustrated with what's going on behind the scenes in Chicago. There are whispers about tension between him and certain teammates, and even some issues with the coaching staff. And let's not forget the front office, which has been under fire from fans for failing to put together a team that can truly compete for a title. Apparently, this frustration has been boiling over for a while now, and LaVine is finally starting to let people know how he feels. Now, let's be real, locker room drama is nothing new in the NBA. These are competitive, high-pressure environments with big personalities and even bigger egos. But when a star player like LaVine starts speaking out, it's a sign that something is seriously wrong. According to reports, LaVine has expressed concerns about a lack of accountability within the team. He feels like certain players aren't pulling their weight and that the coaching staff isn't doing enough to address these issues. That's a pretty bold statement, especially when you consider that the Bulls brought in Billy Donovan as head coach to bring some stability and discipline to the team. If LaVine is openly questioning the leadership, that's a red flag. But it doesn't stop there. There are also rumors that LaVine isn't exactly best friends with all of his teammates. In fact, some sources claim that there's been a growing divide in the locker room, with LaVine on one side and a group of players, including DeRozan, on the other. That's huge because, on the surface, it always seemed like LaVine and DeRozan had good chemistry. They've shared plenty of highlight moments on the court, and their scoring partnership has been one of the few bright spots for the Bulls in recent years. But if there's tension behind the scenes, that could explain why the team has struggled to find consistency. So, what's causing this divide? Well, one theory is that it comes down to leadership styles. DeRozan is a seasoned veteran with a reputation for being a calm, steady presence. He's not the kind of guy to get in someone's face or call them out publicly. LaVine, on the other hand, is younger and still finding his voice as a leader. He's known for being a bit more fiery and emotional, which can sometimes rub people the wrong way. It's possible that these two just have different ideas about how to lead a team, and that's creating friction. Another factor to consider is the team's performance or lack thereof. Losing has a way of magnifying problems, and the Bulls have done plenty of that lately. When you're not winning games, every little issue starts to feel like a big deal. Players get frustrated, fingers start getting pointed, and before you know it, you've got a full-blown locker room meltdown. If the Bulls were winning, it's possible that some of these issues wouldn't even be a topic of conversation. But because they're not living up to expectations, the cracks are starting to show. Let's talk about the front office for a minute because they're not off the hook here. When Art Raskarniovas and Mark Eversley took over, there was a lot of optimism about the direction of the team. They made some bold moves, like trading for Vuevi and signing DeRozan, and for a while, it seemed like they were building something special. But now, those moves are starting to look a little questionable. Vuevi has been solid but not spectacular, and DeRozan, while still playing at a high level, is in the twilight of his career. Meanwhile, the Bulls haven't done much to address their glaring need for three-point shooting and perimeter defense. If you're Zach LaVine, you've got to be looking at this roster and wondering if the front office really has a plan to get this team to the next level. And let's not forget the financial side of things. LaVine signed a massive contract extension last offseason, making him the face of the franchise for years to come. That kind of commitment comes with a lot of pressure, both on LaVine and on the organization. If the Bulls can't put a winning team around him, it's only a matter of time before he starts thinking about his future elsewhere. And based on these recent reports, it sounds like he might already be heading in that direction. So, what does all of this mean for the Chicago Bulls moving forward? Well, it's clear that something needs to change. Whether it's a coaching shakeup, a blockbuster trade, or a complete rebuild, the status quo isn't cutting it. The Bulls can't afford to waste any more time. DeRozan and Vuevi aren't getting any younger, and LaVine's patience won't last forever. If the front office doesn't take action soon, they risk losing their star player and plunging the team into another long rebuild. One potential solution that's been floated is trading LaVine. It's a controversial idea, especially since he's been the face of the franchise for several years now, but it might be the best way to reset and move forward. LaVine would undoubtedly command a massive return in a trade, giving the Bulls the assets they need to start building for the future. It's a risky move, but sometimes you have to take a step back to take two steps forward. Of course, there's also the possibility of trading other pieces, like DeRozan or Vuevi, and building around LaVine instead. That would allow the Bulls to stay competitive while also reshaping the roster to better fit LaVine's strengths. But again, that's easier said than done. The NBA is a tough market, and making the right moves at the right time is no easy task. At the end of the day, the Bulls are at a crossroads. The reported tension in the locker room is just one piece of a much larger puzzle, and how the organization responds to these challenges will define their future. For fans, it's a frustrating and uncertain time, but it's also an opportunity for the team to take a hard look in the mirror and figure out what kind of franchise they want to be. So, what do you think? Are the Bulls doomed to mediocrity, or can they turn things around? Should they stick with LaVine, or is it time to move on? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more NBA content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.